The sock vanishes before you can grab it. Your dog swallows, wags, and trots to his water bowl. Dinner disappears in under a minute. The next morning, he poops like nothing happened. You almost let it go. But the real story of what is happening inside him is far stranger. A dog can keep eating and pooping for days while a blockage cuts off blood to his gut. He can look completely normal for 24 to 72 hours while his intestinal wall is dying. The sickness hides behind normal behavior. Your dog is not fine. He is running on borrowed time, and the window to save him is closing without a single obvious symptom. Here's what is actually happening. When a dog swallows something like a sock, a corn cob, a stone, or a chunk of a chew toy, one of several things can occur. Some objects pass through the entire digestive tract on their own. Others lodge immediately and cause a full blockage. Your dog vomits violently within hours. He collapses and refuses food. That is the emergency everyone knows. But there is a third path, and it is the dangerous one. An object can wedge partway and still let food and waste slip around it. Veterinarians call this a partial obstruction. The gut is a muscular tube designed to push contents along. As long as even a narrow gap remains open, the system keeps working. Your dog feels hungry and eats with enthusiasm. And because some digested material still passes the object, your dog poops. To you, that is the universal sign of a healthy digestive system, the proof that the pipes are clear. This is the assumption that puts dogs in graves, because while the gut is still moving things along, the object itself does not move. It sits there like a stone in a river, and pressure begins to build around it. The intestinal wall is a living tissue with its own blood supply. Imagine pressing your thumb hard against your arm for a minute. The skin turns pale as the blood is pushed out of the tissue. Now imagine that pressure never lifts. The object presses against the gut wall from the inside. The wall stretches around it. Blood flow slows to a trickle. Then it stops entirely in one small patch. That patch of tissue begins to suffocate. Cells die. The wall weakens. And this is where the timeline turns merciless. In many cases of partial obstruction, the dog shows no dramatic signs for 1 to 3 days. A dog can greet you at the door. He can beg for your dinner. He can play fetch in the yard. He can poop every single day. Meanwhile, the patch of gut wall under pressure is slowly losing its blood supply. Veterinarians have a phrase for this process. They call it devitalization, and it means tissue that is no longer alive. Once a section of bowel wall dies completely, the consequences accelerate. The dead tissue loses its strength. The natural bacteria living inside the gut, trillions of them, always kept contained by the intestinal lining, begin to find a way through. This is the nightmare scenario veterinarians dread. It is called perforation. A hole forms. The contents of the intestine leak into the abdomen. The abdominal cavity is a sterile space, and your dog's body has spent its entire life keeping bacteria out of it. When gut contents spill into it, the immune system responds with everything it has. Fever spikes. The abdomen fills with infected fluid. The dog's blood pressure crashes. This is septic peritonitis, a full-body infection that can kill within hours. And it all began with a dog who was eating and pooping like nothing was wrong. So how long does a partial blockage actually take to turn lethal? The number that matters is not a large one. It is 24 to 72 hours. That is the window between a dog swallowing an object and the moment his gut wall can begin to die. Not every case moves that fast, and some dogs never progress to perforation, but a veterinarian cannot tell which dog is which just by watching, and neither can you, which raises a very uncomfortable question. If eating and pooping do not prove the gut is safe, what does? Here is the first signal that is easy to miss. Your dog was too interested in food to seem sick, but did he actually keep it down? Vomiting is one of the earliest signs of intestinal obstruction. It is just rarely as dramatic as people expect. It might be bile in the morning. It might be a small puddle by the door. You might assume he ate grass or drank too fast. But in a dog who swallowed something days ago, that quiet vomiting is a warning. The gut is trying to move something that will not move. The second signal is subtler still. His poop changes. Maybe it is smaller than usual, or soft and slimy. Maybe he strains and produces almost nothing. Maybe he looks at his own rear end with confusion after he goes. All of these are signs that only some material is squeezing past a partial blockage. The normal-looking poop is a distraction. The abnormal poop is the truth. Then there are the behavioral signs that are heartbreaking in their smallness. Your dog rests more than usual or pants lightly in a cool room. He changes position often and cannot get comfortable. He does the downward dog stretch more often than normal. That stretch, front legs low, hind end high, is sometimes called the prayer position. It is not yoga. It is a physical response to abdominal pain, one that changes the pressure inside the belly and offers a few seconds of relief. A dog doing this repeatedly is not being cute. He is hurting. Now consider what most people do at this stage. They watch, they wait, they tell themselves the dog is eating and pooping, so the dog is fine. That waiting is the deadliest variable in the entire story. How fast does early become too late? The studies show the same shape over and over. Dogs opened early before the gut wall died, recovered well. Dogs opened late after the blood supply was gone, watched their odds fall off a cliff. But there is a twist here that most owners never hear. It is not just about survival. It is about what survives of the gut itself. When a section of intestine dies, the surgeon must remove it and reattach the healthy ends. This is called resection and anastomosis. The remaining bowel is shorter, and in many cases, the dog adapts and lives a full life. But in other cases, especially if the dead section was long, the dog faces chronic digestive problems for the rest of his life. He may never absorb nutrients the same way again. He may battle diarrhea and weight loss and need a specialized diet forever. And all of that can come from a single sock swallowed on a single ordinary afternoon. Think about your dog for a moment. The one asleep on the floor beside you. He does not understand what he swallowed. He does not know why his belly hurts. He has no way to tell you that a piece of fabric is pressing against his gut wall and starving it of blood. He just knows he still feels hungry, so he eats. He just knows his body still pushes some waste past the object, so he poops. And you see these as signs of health. They are not. They are signs of a body still fighting, still compensating, still sending its last reserves to keep the whole system running. This is the illusion of normal, built on the very signals you have been told to trust. A dog who eats is okay. A dog who poops is okay. Those rules are true most of the time, but when a foreign object is involved, they flip into something dangerous. The most important sentence in this entire story is only 6 words long. Eating and pooping are not enough. Not when anything at all has changed. So what should you do if you suspect your dog swallowed something? Call your veterinarian immediately. Do not wait for vomiting. Do not wait for him to stop eating. Do not wait to see if the object passes. Your veterinarian has tools you do not have. An X-ray can reveal dense objects like stones, metal, or some chew toys. An ultrasound can show swelling in the intestinal wall and reduced blood flow, the very changes that signal a partial obstruction before perforation occurs. If your dog swallowed something within the last hour or two, a veterinarian may be able to induce vomiting safely and return the object to the light of day before it ever reaches the intestine. The sock comes back up. The danger ends before it begins. Not every object can be induced safely because sharp objects or caustic substances can do more damage coming back up than going down. But a sock, a corn cob, a toy, a peach pit? These are exactly the objects that veterinarians often prefer to remove by emesis, which simply means vomiting, before they cause trouble lower down. The clock starts running the second your dog swallows. By 72 hours, the gut wall may already be losing its blood supply. By the time you see dramatic symptoms, it may already be too late to save that section of bowel. And here's one more thing to know. This is not rare, and it is not an exotic scenario that happens to other people's dogs. Intestinal obstruction is one of the most common surgical emergencies in veterinary medicine. Ask any emergency veterinarian how many sock and corn cob surgeries they perform in a year. The answer will not comfort you. Corn cobs are particularly insidious. A researcher named Alan Lipowitz, who studied canine foreign bodies extensively, documented that corn cobs are among the most common and most dangerous objects dogs swallow. They are the right size to lodge in the small intestine. They do not show up well on standard x-rays. And they can sit for days while the dog continues to eat and pass small amounts of stool. But your dog is not the only one who hides symptoms while something is quietly going wrong. People ignore the strange pain too. If corn cobs hide this well, what else in your house is doing the same? Sometimes a person walks into a doctor's office with a body that has been quietly compensating for months. Your dog learned to hide weakness for a very ancient reason. That instinct did not disappear when dogs moved onto the sofa. What does that ancient survival instinct mean for the silent patient on your floor right now? Now circle back to the moment that started everything. The sock is in your dog's mouth. You reach for it. He swallows. You wait to see if he seems okay. He eats his dinner. You relax a little. The next morning he poops. Now he's wagging at you, bright-eyed and hungry, and the worst thought in the world arrives in the gentlest voice. maybe it passed, maybe he is fine. And maybe that thought is the very thing the danger was counting on, because a dog can eat and poop with a deadly blockage inside him, and the only way to beat that silence is to refuse to be reassured by the very signs that would normally mean everything is fine. The clock is not on your side, but it is still ticking. Key moments, keyword, cuts off blood, sentence, 7, keyword, borrowed time, sentence, 11, keyword, dogs in graves, sentence, 28, keyword, timeline turns merciless, sentence, 43, keyword, septic peritonitis, sentence, 64, keyword, become too late, sentence, 107, keyword, illusion of normal, sentence, 133, keyword, still ticking, sentence, 189. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. There's much more to discover.